Hi, I'm Matt Kuhn, your tutor for CIT 155 Web Dev. I wanted to go over one of the assignments in Module 3 together. Let's dive in. So this is T3 Case Problem 2, Custom Expressions. We're going to be making a website that's going to end up looking like this. Looks like an ad out of a comic book. And we're going to be working for Richard Privet. What a guy. So the first thing we'll do is we'll adjust the HTML to be linked to the CSS style sheets. And then we're going to notice that there's a div with the name container that has pretty much the entire body, or a large portion of it. And inside of that, there will be rows and columns, and possibly rows inside of columns and columns inside of rows. But also, the columns will be named with a certain number to indicate what percent of the screen they're supposed to take up. So first thing we'll do is we'll go to the grids CSS file and create a rule to make each row 100% of the width of its parent, I think. And then displaying the row only when it's clear of floated content on both margins. And then create a style rule to allow grid rows to expand around all their floated content. Okay, let's try our hand at this. So, we know that the width is going to be 100%, and we know that it's supposed to clear on both sides. Okay. So we're also going to be using the div.rowAfter, row after, just like it says here. Alright, so let's check that. Let's just check it and see how it likes it. It indicates that it likes it, but we might be coming back to that stuff anyway in a minute. Then we'll move on to the grid columns, and it says to create a style rule to float every div whose name begins with column to the left. This might be new for this section, so we'll go over it really quick. So for every div whose class name begins with, that's what this caret equal sign means, column, and we float left. Great. So now that that's done, we'll create style rules for each of these div elements to make their width match the number. So I've already typed them out, and I'll paste them in. 80%, etc. So that's the only thing we have to do for the columns. So let's check it and see how it likes it. Unsurprisingly, it doesn't like it. Well, it might be surprising to you, but I saw that coming. So there's actually something missing in div.rowAfter, and it took a lot of digging. And the answer I found, I'm not clear on exactly what's going on. So after is going to be looking for content, and then for some reason we'll be displaying table, and then we'll have clear both. I'm just going to go ahead and put these in here. And clear both, both. And now we can move on to the next step. So grid spacing styles. Go to the spacing styles section, create a style rule to apply the border box model to the div elements. Okay, so this might be a new concept. So we're going to be using box sizing, and then in type we're going to have border box. This is on 3-6b, refining a floated layout. Okay, I'll copy it out of my little cheat sheet and paste it in here. Okay, moving on. So in the CE styles file, we'll go to the first section, oops, over here, window and body styles, and we're going to create a rule to set the browser background to a certain color. RGB 101.101.101.101. Seems good. And we'll make a body that sets the background color to white, the font to these things, centers the page by setting some margins, and sets the width to 95% and min width and max width. So here's my body. We set the background color to white. I've set the font family to what it asked. I could have made this all one line, but for the sake of making it explicit for you and for myself, I just set each margin one at a time. Just like it asked, I set the width to 95%, then the min width and the max width to the corresponding pixels. Insert a style rule that displays all images in the document as blocks with widths of 100%. All images. Image, display them as blocks with widths of 100%. Insert a style rule to remove all underlining for A tags. Hypertext links within navigation lists. Okay? So far, so good. Body and header styles. Okay, go to the body header styles section. Richard wants you to format the links that are displayed in the header at the top of the web page. To format links, create a style rule that sets the background color of the body header to this, whatever that is. Okay. And sets the height to 40 pixels. So the header, color, and height. Create a style that displays all list items within the navigation on order list. Floated on the left, right margin 20 pixels, top bottom padding. Okay. So we need to break our way down to the list items of the list in the navigation of the header. Just like it says here. All list items within the navigation unordered list in the body header. Okay, so it's said to set the margins like so, and to float them left. So that's why we have it like that. Create a style rule to set the font size of the hypertext links within the body. We will be doing a similar thing here. So it says for both visited and non-visited links. So, in other words, we drill down to our A tag again, and then we set the properties they asked, and they say for visited and non-visited. So, in other words, like, not only visited. See how we could have done visited, but since it's for both visited and non-visited, I'm just not going to put anything here. I'm just going to leave it open. And then do something when we hover. So what do we do when we hover? We set it to another color. So here we go. Now I have the hover guy here. Anyway, let's see how it likes that. Alright, div container styles. Go to the div container styles section. Richard wants us to add some additional spacing between the images and the edge of the page body. Create a style rule that sets the right and bottom padding of the div element to the div element container. With the ID container to 8 pixels. Alright. And padding right and padding bottom. Right and bottom, 8 pixels. Okay, for every A tag within a div element belonging to the cell class, create a style rule that does a few things. Display the link as a block with a width of 100%, and set the left and top padding to 8 pixels. Right. Now, this is what we're going to end up with, okay? So, just for fun though, I'd like to point out that it said with a width of 100%. So I'm going to put that in, width 100%. And then I'm going to test it. It does not work. Now if I remove this, I'm not perfectly clear on why that is. I can certainly say that the phrasing here is confusing. But after doing some Googling, I found that when you use display block, it automatically takes up the whole width. So there's something about having a width here that makes it not right. Again, guys, this is the second thing that I've come across that I wish I could fully explain, but can't. I am sorry, I really am. Anyway, footer styles. Richard wants the page footer to be displayed in the bottom right corner of the web page. To place the footer in this position, go to the Windows and Body Styles, and set the position of the body element to relative. Okay, so we're going to have to go back up to the body, and set the position to relative. And then go to the footer style section and create a rule for the footer elements. Okay, down here. So we're gonna set the position property of the footer to absolute with a right coordinate and bottom coordinate of 8 pixels. What are these? We'll talk about that in a sec. Set the text of the footer to this color, right align, and set the font size. Okay, so let's go ahead and put in all our footer stuff. So set the position to absolute, and then when you're talking about coordinates, it was here briefly in the book. So whenever you're using absolute position, coordinates refer to top, left, bottom, or right. So let's go back here. So it says that our coordinates from the right and from the bottom will be 8 and 8. So from the bottom and from the right, 8 and 8. Great. From here, we're just setting the text color, text aligning to the right, and setting the font size. And that's great. And we'll test the entire thing. And that's the entire project. I will share this workspace with you so that you can look at it if you need. I hope that was helpful. Again, I'm Matt Kuhn, your tutor for CIT 155 Web Dev. My contact info and office hours are at the bottom of the screen. Reach out anytime if you need anything. Have a blessed day.